And it was one of those where it's like, it reminds you like why you go to the movies.
One day he's gonna follow you home.
We got us a problem now.
Oh, we heard tale of a party.
Drive-by movies, you're watching
Fresh Releases.
My name's Blaise.
And I'm James.
And this week, we're talking Ryan Coogler's new film, Sinners.
One day he's gonna follow you home.
Sinners stars Michael B. Jordan, who plays as two twin brothers, and they return to their hometown to start again, only discovered that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. So, finally, an original movie. We talked about it with Black Bag last week, how we just don't get enough original movies, especially at that mid-budget range. This movie, it's higher budget. I wouldn't say it's super high budget, like 150. I believe this was a $90 million movie. Still pretty up there, though. But we don't get these original movies anymore, is what I was complaining about last week. And here we are with one that's critically acclaimed. People are going back to theaters to see it, and maybe not at like MCU movie level, but still, audiences going to see it. Blaise, what are your thoughts coming out of Sinners?
I have to say, this is a film that really caught me by surprise. I remember seeing the trailer, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 times. I definitely saw it before Mickey 17 and some other movies we've checked out. And I thought that the trailer was just kind of whatever. Like, it didn't show really much of what the movie was about, but it definitely revealed maybe key moments in the movie just from like the cinematography. It did feel like it spoiled aspects of the movie, so I was like, okay, whatever. But it definitely, after watching this movie, I feel like the trailer was good enough to maybe get asses in the seats, but also it didn't spoil, you know, the story of the movie, because that's where this movie was really, really firing on all cylinders. Was the story was very, very rich on multiple levels, you know, metaphorically and also visually as well. James, what'd you think of the film?
Yeah, well, what I wasn't expecting was how much I was going to laugh throughout the movie. This isn't a comedy by any means, but there is some solid comedic moments throughout the movie in this, you know, horrific, you know, ridiculous scenario that these characters are going through. Like you, I wasn't really pulled in by the trailers. I thought it looked like it was shot extremely well. I could tell it was shot on film, and I was excited for that. I was like, cool, you know, Ryan Coogler, I did like Black Panther, I did like Creed, but I haven't really seen any of his other movies. We did review Fruitvale Station a long time ago, back when Blaise and I were podcasters before YouTubers. And, you know, I liked that movie, but I wasn't its biggest like fan, but, you know, I did like his other 2 movies. And cool that he's getting a good budget to make an original movie like this. And, you know, it's not the most original movie ever already. Like, people are going to probably say, like, From Dusk Till Dawn is basically the same movie. But there's very much a lot of homages to that movie, and you can totally tell it's also inspired by that movie. And that is one of the fun facts. He was mainly inspired by Robert Rodriguez's From Dusk Till Dawn, as well as The Faculty. I saw this at the Vista at noon, and it was packed. I've never seen the theater so packed at noon before. And one of the trailers, they only show trailers on film. So, you know, what studio's putting out their trailers on film these days? Not a lot. So they show a lot of movies that kind of coincide. And The Faculty was one of the ones that they showed before, which was cool. But yeah, it's a fantastic experience with an audience. So many breathtaking sequences, and just a really fun time to be back at the movies. And it was quiet the whole time too. Just loved it. People cheered at the right moments, but just like, it was the best theater experience I could have ever asked for, honestly.
Yeah, I have to say the same. I know I was with my buddy. I'd seen the movie previously. We were seeing it the second week it came out, and it was like such a well-behaved audience, because I go to ultra budget theater where, you know, like tickets are like $7, so things can get rowdy. Like, I saw the Minecraft movie there, and there was no chicken jockey nonsense, but there were like kids just like talking and like cheering and having fun. Like, it can get rowdy there, but it's all part of the experience, you know, as long as you know what you're getting into. Like, I'm not paying $20 to go to an AMC and having my experience ruined and expecting perfection. When I spend $20, I expect the audience to be well behaved. So like if I'm spending $7 and the audience isn't well behaved, that's just a risk I'm willing to take. But the audience was absolutely loving it. There was a moment that I probably won't forget where there is a scary moment. There's like one kind of scary moment, like very tension filled moment in the movie, and there was an audience member, like the whole audience was like glued to their seats, like quiet, and there was one guy that went like like when it happened, and he was so loud that no one even laughed afterwards, but me and my buddy were like cracking up because he got so scared, like that he was like the whole audience is quiet and he like screamed basically at this moment in the movie, which is hilarious. Like I thought it was so funny. Like this is just that crowd pleaser movie that feels like it's such a rich movie as well. Like one of the main things that a lot of people have been talking about is the score. I thought the score was absolutely excellent. It definitely moves the film throughout the whole movie. It feels like it's just driving this movie. And there were some really cool elements of the score too, because it's like this blues style score, and it plays with some of the other characters that are from different parts of the world throughout it. But then it almost goes, when stuff hits the fan in this movie, it almost goes to like, it feels like a Fabio Frizzi like level of like almost like the Beyond, where it's like this kind of demonic like guitar and like organ sounds that I love. I thought that was like a cool 70s throwback almost, that I don't know if that was intentional, but that's how it felt to me at least, and I was totally locked in at that moment.
No, I definitely picked up on that vibe too, just because, it almost had like a metal sound to it as the second half progressed in the movie. And, I didn't think of like, the reference to it maybe being related to like, Goblin soundtracks or anything. But, now that I think about it, that probably is the case. And, that reminds me of the time that you and I saw The Gift almost, and I remember that was a quiet movie. We saw that at the Grove, and I remember though during one of the jump scares, there's only like 2 or 3 jump scares in that movie, but they're intense ones. And I remember a guy threw his popcorn. It didn't like go like sky high or anything, but I just remember you and I were dying laughing at popcorn. I could probably tell what sequence it was within Sinners. But just like, it's been a while since I've just felt this excited coming out of a theater, this way. It's probably been since like the Barbenheimer weekend, where, it just felt exciting and felt like a reason to go back to the movies again. Not that those are the most amazing theater experiences ever, but just it felt like nostalgic seeing those movies. And this also just felt like a big event movie. And I miss this, like, whether or not like Minecraft and Sinners, like it has to be, I'm sure studios are probably taking notes thinking like, oh, we just need movies that are eventful and stuff. And that might be the case, but just sometimes if you just make the right movie, the right people will come. And I'm glad that Sinners is doing that too, just because, everyone loves a good horror film, but also seeing it stretched on a budget like this with some of the breathtaking sequences. Like my favorite sequence in the movie is, I'm sure like a lot of people, is the musical moment of just like, bringing back all these like, musicians throughout history, whether it was the past and the future. Like such a cool sequence to kind of convey, and unlike something I've ever seen before. Just thought that did well and was a great transition from the first half of the movie into the craziness of the second half.
Okay, hot take. Call me crazy. That was probably not my favorite aspect, scene in the movie. That was the one scene that I felt like didn't work for some reason for me. And it wasn't like I loved that scene in a sense, but there was like maybe it was just like the disc jockey and like the guy that's like kind of like cosplaying Jimi Hendrix in a way. Like I just felt like they didn't work. Like I felt like some of those characters worked in that sequence, but some of them just felt out of place for me. I like the artistry of like the camera moving and like people kind of dancing and like it moving through. Like I did think that was cool, but there was just some aspects of like the costumes that didn't work for me in that. And I know that I'm on the wrong there, so whatever, roast me in the comments, I don't care. But one of the scenes for me that played as well as it could have was in the beginning, when you see Smoke and Stack kind of transfer that cigarette back and forth, because we're getting this Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap moment in this movie where Michael B. Jordan and Michael A. Jordan are playing two different characters. But just seeing them hand that cigarette back and forth, like we're used to seeing these, like we even saw it in Mickey 17 with Mickey 17 and 18 like on screen at the same time, but we never see him like kind of something like that, where the characters like hands are literally transferring, like it breaks that illusion of you like knowing that you're seeing Lindsay Lohan play two characters, like you're seeing Michael B. Jordan play two characters, but like it kind of breaks that mystique of that in the beginning, and it really sets up the whole movie where it kind of makes that even more authentic, like that he's playing these two characters. He almost like divorces your mind from thinking that, like it's the same guy just on screen twice.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, like, he's the star of the movie and definitely like steals the show for me, as both characters too. Both characters are different enough to where you might have like one that you think is cooler than the other, but both stand out on their own throughout the movie. But also just wanted to shout out Jack O'Connell, dude we've been watching since the Skins days, back when he was James Cook. Absolutely killing it as a vampire in this movie. So funny, but also very menacing in the movie as well. Those introduction sequences where they're trying to get into the club, where he's playing with the other two white guys white couple that he turned into vampires. Just like, I thought that was like a really funny sequence to kind of just set up for how crazy they were going to get throughout the movie. But yeah, he's a very menacing vampire within the movie. Like, the movie also isn't afraid to shy away from gore. But yeah, just thought that he was a fun time throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, I know that this is a horror movie. It's definitely being marketed as a horror movie, but at the same time, I feel like it's enough horror where I feel like most people that might not be interested in horror, might be too scared of like horror movies, could comfortably watch this movie and embrace like genre films. Like it felt like it was almost a little bit of that softball horror that we've talked about in the past, where like people that might be scared of like horror movies or not want to watch a genre movie could watch this and comfortably come out of it and enjoy that experience so much, and maybe even want to dip their toes deeper into the genre. But yeah, I thought that this was coming from Ryan Coogler, who we've seen his work in the past in franchises. It was definitely he breathed a breath of fresh air into the genre, but also just felt like he made a movie that I don't think anyone really expected him to kind of come out swinging this hard when he signed an insane deal that people are saying, oh, this is dangerous for the film industry that he signed this deal for this film. I've seen some people conversing about like wanting like a Sinners 2 or like a prequel with the Choctaw Indians. I don't want any of that. I want to see Ryan Coogler making another original film, because we've seen that he can do it here with Sinners. I think he's made one of the best films of the decade, and it would be awesome to see him get that chance again to make something just totally original. I think he made something in Sinners that really couldn't have come from anyone else.
Right, yeah, and while Warner Brothers owns the rights for this movie for, I guess, 25 years, then the rights go back to Ryan Coogler. Like, I assume they're going to try to make as much money as possible by, trying to cash in on some sequels. There's a lot of directions you could go with, whether it's the prequel or sequel route that they want to go to. The movie, there's multiple end credits, which kind of caught me off guard, actually. But yeah, that kind of establishes that you can have this movie take place in any kind of decade and, kind of focus on any kind of musical moment, whether it was like, the psychedelics of the 60s, the punk rock movement of the 70s, or new wave goth vampire sequences of the 80s, I guess. There's a lot you can do with that, and I could see Warner Brothers trying to cash in on all that. But, as for Ryan Coogler, way to go getting a deal like that. And, I hope you use the money you make from this movie to make something brand new again that people will freak out about again, because yeah, fantastic time at the movies and just like a breath of fresh air. Despite it not being the most original movie, it is one of the best of the year for sure so far.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's that one of those movies where like this was keeping me up late at night after I watched it, just because I was enjoying it so much. I'm like, dude, I want to go back. I want to see it again. Like, I freaking love this movie. And it was one of those where it's like, it reminds you like why you go to the movies. Like, it reminds you of like that movie that's almost like perfect in every way. Like, I have like maybe some gripes here and there about little things, but it was one of those movies for me where I was like, dude, this is almost like a perfect movie. And it almost feels like I know it's not Ryan Coogler's first movie, but in a way, because it's his like first like super original movie. I know Fruitvale Station is based on a real life event, but this was like all, hidden pen to paper and then, onto celluloid. It feels almost like his like kind of coming out moment in a way. But yeah, like I would say just one last thing before we wrap this up. The end credit sequence was awesome. I think it wraps this whole film up in a nice, tight little bow. But there were people from my audience that left like when the first credits come on, where I'm like, dude, I would be bummed if I didn't see the end credit sequence or mid credit sequence or whatever. Like, did anyone leave your theater before that played?
I wouldn't be surprised. When I did have to go to use the bathroom after the middle sequence ended, like, the scene is chopped up in between credits. Like, it'll be showing starring this person, director of photography, this person. Then there would be a sequence in between those moments. I watched all of that. Then I ran to the bathroom, but then there was an employee being like, stay behind. There is another scene when the credits end. And I was like, damn. But luckily there was enough time for me to go to the bathroom and watch it. I think a lot of people did leave still, though, after that end credit sequence, or before that end credit sequence actually came up. I think everyone stayed for the middle sequence, but yeah, I would have been upset, though, still missing that end one, just because, seeing it on that screen at the Vista was just such a fun time. And actually people started getting into the like stomp clap with the song. So it was very fitting, just like nice theater experience. And just like, it's cool to finally have that like water cooler movie again. If you don't know what that term water cooler means, it's like what TV shows tried to do back in the day. Like, oh, we want to be the show where people the next day are talking about that episode at the water cooler. And that's what this movie feels like, a reason for people to be excited and be like, catch that movie Sinners yet?
Yeah, definitely. I have to say, I mean, what are you doing right now? If you watched this video so far, I'm hoping you already saw the movie, but if you haven't, go ahead and check this movie out. It's definitely worth the watch.
Yeah, great way to help support it. Just let us know what you thought about the movie in the comments down below. Tell us how you thought. Did you agree with us? It's a great way to help support the show.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all of our latest updates.
And speaking of updates, catch all our social media links down below for Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, also our own personal Letterboxd accounts. That's it for this week. Tune in next week for a brand new video.